STI740 Beyond the Game. I'm your main host, Isaac Cherry.
And
we right here in 411 Lounge. Right here down here. I mean, you looking kind of injured.
No, you good. You good. Go ahead, fam. Alright, so like I was about to say, I'm your co-host, Jabbarri Garrett, and like you said, this show is completely ran by the youth. Produced by the youth, so.
Yes, sir. My name is Brother Savion Curd, and I'm your host of the talent segment. But today I'll host your Who's Who in the Community with Matt Houston, Dr. Matt Houston.
Alright, so we will be here every week at Saturday from 11 to 12. Check us out at streamoffschool.com/STI740.
Oh, yeah, by the way, today we have a special guest, number 17 from the Cowboys, kick returner, punt returner, receiver, Dwayne Harris.
Mine's gonna be better, but before we get into this show, we will take a commercial break. Get you time to get logged into your phones, iPads, computers, whatever. Just check us out at streamoffschool.com/STI740. DJ.D, check us out.
Support STI740.
Okay, so we're here with some sports talk today. And a fight that we've been waiting for a long time is going to happen. Mayweather versus Pacquiao.
Everybody been waiting to see them. Hey, who you got though? I say Mayweather now.
I got Mayweather. Why would I go against him? My thing is, it took them 6 years. 6 years. I was 8 when they started that deal. So, my thing, it would have happened if I was younger. Probably would have forgot it. But still, they're towards the tail end of their career. And I would like to saw it if I was younger.
No, man, like, now we actually older, we can see this, and now, like, everybody want to see it. It's getting big, so I think they waited for the right time when everybody be focusing on this, the right time for the money. I think it's going to be big, though.
This is not the right time, because back then, they were arguably the two best boxers in boxing at the time. So I think it would have been better if they would have fought earlier.
Nah.
Because they were younger. 6 years younger is big time.
Nah, I think this is still gonna be a good fight, and everybody. Some people say Pacquiao gonna win. He have more knockouts and stuff, and like Mayweather ain't ready. But I think Mayweather about to go ahead and make this upset. So
upset.
Yeah,
I don't ever think he was the underdog in the first place.
Well, like if you make a poll, like more people that I've talked to, I get more Pacquiao people. But like I go ahead and shut him down with that because Mayweather will win. But just saying. Pacquiao, he's a great fighter, and this will be a great fight, but Mayweather got this all the way.
Yeah, I agree with you. But that's probably like the only thing we're going to agree on. So, let's go ahead. First off, I would like to give my condolences to Jerome Kersey, who passed away from a blood clot. He died at the age of 52. He used to play for the Trailblazers, number 25. And this is kind of scary for Chris Bosh, because Chris Bosh has the same thing that he died from.
Yeah, people know this is serious because you have LeBron out there, former teammate of Chris Bosh, just talking about
his wife.
Yeah, you had a lot of people out there saying like their prayers is really for him, and they hope this is not like that bad. But this is a serious thing, and like you said, people have died from it. So, hey, I wish all well for Chris Bosh. And
another man who really gained my respect from the move he did, Steve Blake. He plays for the Trailblazers currently. And he had the number that Jerome Kersey had. When he figured out that Jerome Kersey had passed, he changed his number in honor of Jerome.
Well, yeah, I agree with this because, I agree with him changing his number for that because, Kersey, he was a great player. He made it to the league, so if you make it, you're a good player. And this is a serious issue, so Steve Blake, he recognized that Kersey was he was good, and he recognized that he needed to be remembered, so he didn't want to wear that jersey anymore. He went back to his old number 5, so.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to know what Drew Brees and Marcus Mariota have in common?
What do they have in common?
They both played in a spread offense in college, and they thought Drew Brees wasn't gonna make it because he played in a spread offense. Now, Drew Brees ain't gonna make it. He has Super Bowls, Pro Bowls, MVPs, passing records. So, I think all this spread offense stuff, they just really making hype out of nothing. I think Marcus Mariota, he gonna be a good quarterback.
Well, yeah, I have to agree with you on that because I always said that. I mean, Mariota, he is real good. I think that Philadelphia realized that. I think because Philadelphia wants him, and I think Philadelphia should get him.
Philadelphia's coach, Chip Kelly, actually was at Oregon when Marcus Mariota was playing. So they both played in a spread offense. So I think that'd be
A great connection?
yes,
Yeah.
easier for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Mariota, you don't have to listen to people thinking that he can't make it because he played in the spread offense. I mean, like you said, Drew Brees proved people wrong, so he can too. I mean, he's a great quarterback, so, I mean, I think he's going to get in the league and do his thing.
If you've been watching the combine, you saw that they think Jameis Winston has a weakness in his throwing shoulder. They think that's really going to affect his draft stock. When actually, him and Drew Brees also have something else in common. You know, Drew Brees, he's like inspiration for a lot of people, you know. But they thought
But that's true.
They thought Drew Brees had a life-threatening shoulder condition when actually he didn't. So now that was the Chargers' fault, not picking up his contract because they signed him. They signed him to a $2 million base salary, and the rest was based on his performance. So he was saying the reason Drew Brees left San Diego was because he felt like he wasn't getting paid like a top 5 pick.
Well, I mean, Drew Brees, he's a great player, and I can't say nothing bad about him about that. He got his ring and stuff, so, I mean, he's a great player, but like you said, Jameis Winston, I mean, I kind of got to agree with them on that. I mean, his arm, I think he has a problem in his throwing arm too. I mean, he got power though, but I mean, I don't think his accuracy is always there when it needs to be.
He's
so.
actually throwing at the combine today,
I mean,
as we speak.
yeah, so, I mean, he can go out there and do his thing, but I still don't think like, all right, RG3 for instance. I mean, he came in the league first year. I mean, he had not as great of a team around him, but he did great that year still. And then next year after coming off the injury, I mean, he was expecting to do better, but he didn't really come back to his natural self. And now RG3 fell off. Now, I think Jameis Winston...
They actually think Jay Gruden, the coach for the Redskins, he actually pronounced RG3 as the starter for the Redskins.
Well, just because they pronounce him, I mean, he's going to have to prove himself again. Because, like, last season, did he prove himself?
Yeah, no.
Okay, then.
But he is already announced as the starter.
Okay, so, a lot of players are announced as the starter and
he doesn't have to prove himself to be a starter.
Is that true?
The coach already called him a starter.
Okay, I'm saying that a whole lot of people are starters in the league and they're still not contributing. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay then, so just because he's a starter doesn't mean anything. He can still go out there and mess up. Is that true?
Every quarterback.
I mean, like, but alright, not do good as he usually was like his first year. Is that true? Can he still go out there and have a poor game?
His first year he was playing with injuries.
That didn't answer my question. Can he go out there and have a poor game?
Yes, any quarterback can.
Okay, so like I said, I believe he will still go out there and have a poor game. I don't think he's back. I mean, he has to prove himself. Because he didn't prove himself last season.
Every quarterback has to prove himself. No offense, Dwayne, but Tony Romo has to prove himself after he threw 3 interceptions against the 49ers.
Indeed.
Look at him now.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't see a reason not to believe he can't prove himself.
Have RG3 proved himself yet?
We don't know yet.
Exactly. So that's what I said. He's gonna have to prove himself to me.
Okay. He got to prove himself to everybody.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up our special co-host for today. A very beautiful young lady. She's a sports reporter for KTEV TV. That is tricky. You know how long I have to stay up Sunday night?
Say it again.
KTEV TV.
I can't say it. Say it again.
No.
Oh, I can't say that.
Okay. So there's a great saying called "Behind every successful man is a great woman." So she might want to get behind me because I am very successful.
How charming are you? How charming.
I know. Thank you.
So let's welcome her.
I appreciate it.
We're gonna talk about the All-Star game just real quick.
Yes,
Who are you
yes.
rooting for, the East or the West?
Well, you know, I'm a Bronx boy, born and bred, so I always root for the East. But the West keeps on goddamn winning. Like I mean, in celebrity and in real life, the West is hard to beat.
They do.
Yes.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Hello, Jen.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
You guys got it crunk already. You know, I love that little debate you guys had going on.
So, I'm sorry, but ever since I heard your name, I've always wanted to call you Gin and Juice.
I get that a lot. But since you are who you are, I'll let you in on a little secret. My name is actually Virginia. And everybody calls me Jen.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us who you are and what is it that you do.
Well, I go by Virginia Blanton. I am a sports reporter, commentator, host for KTEV TV out in Texarkana. I live here in Dallas, and we cover the Cowboys and the Dallas Mavericks.
We actually saw you at the Mavericks game.
Yeah, I did. I met you guys. You guys were so professional and so nice and very kind. I was like, yes, I gotta go on the show.
She's talking about me.
No.
No, go ahead.
That's what I do.
So, would you say it is easier for women reporters to get respect in the industry?
Easier?
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd say it's easier. I think it's probably more difficult for women to be taken seriously in the profession.
How is it more difficult? Because I like talking to a beautiful woman.
Hard he is.
Well, that's one aspect of it. Most of the time, you're not taken seriously as a professional in what you do. A lot of people just look at you maybe as eye candy, or you don't, because you're a girl or female, you don't really know sports like men do. So I think it's just a little bit more difficult to be taken seriously. And I respect it, but take it seriously.
So a young female who wants to like be a journalist when they grow up, what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, when they get into the industry, be professional. There's a lot of things that we see now on social media. A lot of women are, unfortunately, young girls are looking for what I would say social media fame. But they gotta remember that this is a profession, and they want to have the right image. They want to be taken seriously, so they want to be just as good, if not better, than their male counterparts. And they're gonna have to work harder. So they're gonna have to really just stick to it, keep their image clean, study, work hard, and just grind like everybody else.
So, speaking of goals and what it takes to get there, what are your short and long-term goals?
Ooh, my short-term goals are I am starting a show myself called the Snap and Tip Show. You know, snap for football, tip for basketball. We cover both. So that's my short-term goal. I'm going to get that going and get that out there. Long-term goals, I would say, would be to do some commentating on ESPN, maybe NFL TV, NBA TV, things like that.
Wow, so like I'm sure you've been in a lot of interviews. So I have to ask, what is your weirdest, like, how have your weirdest interview been?
Ooh.
Who is it with?
Weird?
Yeah. Who was it with?
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had any weird interviews. Maybe I've been fortunate and blessed, like you say, most guys don't mind talking to me, so I don't have a problem like that. I've had some very unusual locker room encounters, but I'm not gonna say any names. I'm not gonna do that. So I think that's kind of the only weirdness that I've experienced is locker room.
So, if you could interview any athlete, who would it be and why?
Any athlete? Do they have to be living?
No?
No.
Any athlete?
I would probably want to interview Muhammad Ali when he was in his prime in boxing. Probably because from what I've read and studied, I liked his discipline, his work ethic, some of his spiritual beliefs, and I believe I could probably learn a lot from him. Him and Bruce Lee. I like Bruce Lee.
So what African American have you been inspired by?
I've been inspired by tons of African Americans. I mean, we as a people do amazing things that we don't get recognized for. And I can't just say there's one person, there's many, from Martin Luther King to Rosa Parks to, all the people that have done so much for us today. Debbie Allen, who I admire because she does so much behind the camera, producing, acting, directing, performing. I can't just say one person. There's a lot of people I admire.
Have there been any journalists that like inspired you?
I'm a big fan of Sage Steele. I am. I'm a huge fan of her. She covers more basketball than anything else, but I just kind of admired her story. She started out, like myself, just grinding, becoming a journalist, and just worked her way up to the success she's had today. So she's one of my people.
So, what is it that you would like others to know about you?
I'm a hard worker. Not only do I do the sports reporting, but I'm a producer, a director, an actress. So I'm out there grinding, just like you guys.
So I was looking at your website, and
Okay.
I was
Oh gosh.
I saw your TV show, and I was thinking
Which TV show?
the one Snapping Tip.
Oh, we just got started on that one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking might want to have me on there.
Oh.
Bring your ratings.
Okay, so let me ask you, if I decide to put you on the show, what value are you going to bring to the show
Bring
that I
value
don't
to
already
everything.
have on the show? I know.
I'm bringing back everything: money, people, likes.
Oh, okay, so
fame.
he said money. We're going to put you on the show.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So like, where can we see some of your interviews that you did?
Well, since all of my stuff is aired in Texarkana, you actually can't see it on TV, but the producers will put stuff out on YouTube, various clips. I believe they put out a lot of clips that I had from All-Star Weekend last weekend. Should be up now.
So you were at the All-Star game?
I was.
Who did you interview?
Of course, all the athletes, which is normal for me, but one of my favorite interviews, you guys probably don't remember this show, but I had a chance to interview a character called Bubbles from The Wire. The people in the audience may remember that. It's a hit HBO show, was about 8 years ago. So he was my funnest, most memorable interview.
The Wire?
The Wire.
What is that about?
You don't remember it. Well, it had such actors as Idris Elba. It was like a crime drama series. But as far as any names that you guys remember, maybe Chadwick Boseman from Get On Up and 42, where he played Jackie Robinson, Anthony Anderson.
Oh, so you interviewed him?
I did. I think that clip's on YouTube, so you can pull it up.
I put my clips on YouTube.
Okay.
Then give me a shout out on your show.
I will. You said you bring in money, so hey, you my man.
He needs to shout out.
Everything. Likes, fame, love.
What the charm you are?
People love it. That's what it is.
That's just because I'm extra.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you weren't a sports reporter, what would you be?
Ooh, if I wasn't a sports reporter, what would I be? I can't say anything else that I'm already doing. I can't imagine myself doing anything.
I mean, you
but
can
what
say
I'm
you can
doing.
say anything.
I would still
Cheerleader,
be,
astronaut.
those days are over. I would still be in the entertainment industry in some form or fashion. That's my passion. That's what I love to do. And I believe that you were put on this earth to do what your passion is. We can conform and, do 9-to-5 jobs and all. That's fine because you have to make a living. But I think a piece of you dies when you don't pursue your passion. So I'll always would be in the entertainment industry.
Okay, so Miss Jen and Juice, we would like to thank you for being with us. We're going to run a quick highlight of our special guest for today. A man who I met when he first came to Dallas. Him and his friend Mario. Yep, I remember that. And so he came a long way. That touchdown against the Eagles basically saved his spot on the roster. And I want to tell the Cowboys something. If y'all don't resign my man over here, y'all gonna regret it. He's averaging 24.7 yards per kick return. And that's 742 over the total of the season. He had 30. And the next person after him is 23 yards per kick return, which is Lance Dunbar. But he only did it twice. So we don't know how he'll spend out during the full season. unlike my man did over here. So, and then after that you have Cole Beasley. He returned it for a living. So you really don't know where you're gonna get. And why not just go ahead and sign a man who's unrestricted? So he has some value, very, very nice value. And I'm pretty sure a lot of teams like to have him. So we're gonna go ahead and show this highlight video, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring in my main man, Dwayne Harris.
What school do you attend? So, how was your day today? Good. That's it. It's not great. Anything like that? Your school sounds kind of boring. I hope that's not the case. Takes me back to my school days. What grade are you in again? Fifth grade, right? Okay, so what's your name?
Isaiah Cherry.
So we have Isaiah Cherry on staff. Can we zoom in on this real quick? I just love this right here. Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
You know, so what grade are you in?
7.
7th grade.
Okay, so we back with Mr. Dwayne Harris. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about y'all selves? I'm glad to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
No, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, for those who played, I'd like to say, you know you can ask questions, right?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you.
Go ahead.
Please, go
Have
ahead.
your little interview for
Have my interview? Okay.
Yeah.
Dwayne, I'd like to know, you have such fabulous hair. Who does your hair?
It's a great question. Because everybody want to know that question. My great hairstylist, Karen, she works over at Touche. Yeah, so she does a great job every time. She comes in to do my hair. I mean, first and clean, mine up too, so keep the line up too.
How long you been growing it?
8 years, and the 2nd of February. So, yeah.
It's all yours now.
8 years.
That's a long time.
So, for those who play youth sports, what is the meaning of team and why is it important?
The meaning of team, I think just being a teammate is just giving up your selfish ways and just being a team player, like giving it up for the team, not being selfish, not just being a one player. Like you want to be like not part of a team, play tennis, or play at one, like golf. Something like a team, because but a teammate just means just giving it up for everybody, not just yourself.
So, what is one of the greatest lessons you learned from playing professional football?
The greatest lesson I learned that playing professional football is a business. There's really no loyalty in it, but it's a business at the same time. As much as you love the game, you gotta think about this as a business aspect. And just because you love it doesn't mean you love it back.
You said football is a business. How important is it to learn finances as an athlete?
It's very important because you make a lot of money, especially playing the sport, and not being able to manage your finances, you go broke real fast. Because in this game, we get 17 checks in a year, so right now I'm not getting paid, so I'm unemployed. But so it's like you gotta be able to manage your money throughout the whole year, not just when you get a check go out and buy like nice stuff all the time. You gotta be able to manage it throughout the year. You can't go out and just buy $120,000 car, or go out and buy your house on the way, or just go out and buy plenty of shoes, clothes, whatever. In case maybe you just gotta be able to manage your money throughout the whole year. A lot of people unfortunately turn over their money, so.
So with that being said, for someone that's about to make a lot of money in the NFL, what advice would you give them?
Like
what
yourself.
would you tell them to look for in a financial manager?
You gotta definitely look for somebody who knows this stuff. You have to do your research. And I was fortunate enough to have a guy who represents me that I've been knowing for a while. He went to the same college as me. He played football, a smart guy. And to me and him, we like best friends. So me and him, I talk to him every day. I make sure my money's good. He makes sure my money's good. So as long as that's happening, I'm good with him. He's good with me.
Right.
All about the money.
You gotta
All
have
the
a
money.
good communication with that person. that's
Definitely gotta have
handling
good
it.
communication with somebody who's handling your money.
Yeah.
You always wanna know where your money's going, when it's coming in, and where it's being distributed to.
So how many of your teammates like are you close friends with?
I'm close to a lot of people, you know, Des Bryant, Bruce Carter, Terrence Williams. Those are probably the guys I kick it with, like, most of the time you see me out, those probably the guys I'll be with.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about negative media?
How do I feel about it?
Be honest.
Let's see, I don't know, I've really never really had negative media actually happen to me before, but, you know, I just feel like when people don't understand like what goes on behind the doors, or what really, you know, I guess what's really the case, the point of any subject, you know, they just go off of what they know and not knowing the whole story. So I think negative media can be bad and good. It depends on what it's about.
So like what makes like what helps build your team chemistry?
For us, I think just the guys just wanted to play for each other. You know, we had this year. I think the team was probably one of the best chemistry teams I played on since I was in Dallas. I think just because the guys, everybody was out there just playing for each other. I think it was more of a we wanted to win. Just because I think a lot of guys like Jason Witt hasn't won the Super Bowl, and guys like him who's about to come to the end of his career, you know, and that's one of the hardest working guys I've known in my life. And I think the guys wanted to win for him, and like all the other vets that played on our team. I think that's what made us unselfish, and our chemistry way better than it was throughout the years.
So speaking of your season coming to an end, Green Bay game, 3 steps. Sam Shields said it was a catch. Was it a catch?
I agree with you. It was a catch to me. I played a lot of football, you know. Well, I'm sorry, I think the ground can't call it fumble. I think that's one of the rules. But I'm not a ref, and you know, a lot of people didn't want to see us win anyway.
So what did you say to Dez maybe after the game or after that call was made?
I don't think nobody even talked about it after the game. I think the fans probably was more like real talkative about it than us. We was like, we really don't want to talk about it. It's one of those subjects you just gotta let go. You know, you want to keep bringing up the past.
Yeah.
I think, but for us, we knew what it was. Unfortunately, the calls didn't go our way. You know, we don't really get too many calls that go our way anyway. But you know, I think we just accepted it. You know, and just got to do better next year.
So during the season, chemistry can go up and down, especially when you're down, behind, and ahead. So how is the chemistry when you're ahead at halftime and down at halftime?
From what I've noticed, you know, we got a lot of guys who are very passionate about this game. And if we are down at halftime, you know, you have a lot of guys who, you know, express their feelings in certain ways. And, you know, but the locker room, we always come in, we got a positive vibe. We always say we never out of the game until it's 0-0 on the clock in the fourth quarter. So, and if we're ahead in the game, I think everybody's upbeat. But the thing is, we continue to have that edge and continue to play like 0-0 come second half.
So I mean, you made it to the league. So what inspired you growing up to like have this dream?
What inspired me? I love playing sports. I think I played every sport except for hiking.
Play soccer?
Yeah, soccer too.
Were you?
Tennis, golf?
Played tennis in college.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you used to play quarterback. So can you throw a good spiral still?
Yeah, definitely. I was a great quarterback. I was probably one of the best quarterbacks coming out.
Think you were better than Tim Tebow?
Yeah, definitely.
Shots after the fire.
I think Tim Tebow was like that.
Tim was a good quarterback, man. He won championships down in Florida with all his talent he had. Anybody could do that, but you know, speak about it. But no, Tim was a good quarterback, man. You see what he did when he went to Denver. He took the team to the playoffs. You know, they won the streak. You know.
Look.
They had a good team, but I have to ask, as a Cowboy, what was your like most memorable moment
In the locker room.
Most memorable moment for me, I think it was winning the NFC East championship. That was like one of the highlights of my career, I guess. And the atmosphere in the locker room was amazing. I think everybody was upbeat. First time we went to the playoffs in a while, so it was pretty fun.
So, Philly, their fans have a very dirty reputation. So how was it going in there and winning?
Oh man, it was amazing. After what they did to us at Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
everybody was, everybody jumped on the Philly bandwagon after that, and tried to count us out. And then we go up there and beat them in 8th place. And it was amazing. I loved it.
So, I mean, everybody out there watching, what do you want them to know about Dwayne Harris?
What do I want them to know about Dwayne Harris? I got a whole list of stuff. All night for that one. No, just to know that Dwayne Harris is a person. Football is my job. I have a life outside of football. A lot of people don't understand that football is just what I do to pay bills, and that I'm just not a football player every day. Because a lot of people don't understand that I'm a person too. Like I gotta go out, have fun. I have no kids, no girlfriend. So what I do on my free time is what I do on my free time. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Do you still keep in contact with Mario?
I do keep in contact with him from time to time. He'll hit me up. We'll talk. Always nice to nice kid.
I'd like to know some of the things that you do in the community here in Dallas. Do you have any particular organizations that you support or any charities?
I'm very involved down in Oak Cliff with the Boys and Girls Club down there in Oak Cliff. I always go down there and help the kids out. And I always go down there and have fun with them. I love the kids, and they love me back. So since I did that event down there, I think I've been going back for about a year now. So that's just one of the things that I love doing is giving back to the community. So anytime there's anything to do with kids, I'm always there just because I love kids. So.
Alright, so that's it for Mr. Dwayne. We'd like to thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank y'all for having me.
And we're about to go to a commercial. And right after this, we'll have our Who's Who with John and Savion.
Hey, everybody, make sure y'all stay tuned in to sti740. We'll be back. DJ D, drop the beat.
Right here. My name is Brother Savion Curd, also known as Saving GQ. I'm here with.
My name is John Mitchell, and we have our special guest, one of our other special guests, Matt Houston, and we're gonna have an interview, and Savion's gonna start the interview.
First of all, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
Thank both of you all for that.
I feel like I've seen you before. It's like because you're so involved with the community. Like I don't know where I've seen you.
We seen him at the MLK parade.
Okay.
We seen him at the music hall.
Yeah.
We seen him play.
Now I feel like you're just like everywhere. So, like, what other things are you involved in?
Thank you, because I try to be as many places as possible, especially here in my community in Dallas. I'm chair of the board of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. I also was past president of the Urban League Young Professionals, but I'm an alum of SMU. So I got my undergrad, got my degrees in economics and finance from SMU. I got my MBA from TCU, so I go to Fort Worth. I've taken kids, students to South Africa. I tutor across the area. We started companies to help kids across the area in math and science. So I try to invest into the community as much as possible.
When you say students, are you talking about students our age or like higher, like college or high school?
No, we actually incorporated all of them. So I helped start a business to hire college students, our friends, to go into elementary, middle, and high schools. So from grades 4 up to senior in high school, and just be mentors and tutor them in mathematics and science. But at the same time, I was investing in the college students by having life goals, resume building workshops on Saturdays when they're not working with kids. I help them get jobs as well.
It's really what we need in our community. But you gave us a brief interview on this question, but who exactly is Matt Houston?
So who is Matt Houston? Matt Houston is a guy from Oak Cliff, Texas, who is a product of his neighborhood, product of his family, and he wants to be able to give all of the things back to what Oak Cliff's given me. That was education, that was love, that was passion, and it's aspiration. And I just want to inspire people to be great because it's a great area. We're great people. I want to make sure that people see positive influences in the Oak Cliff community.
You grew up in Oak Cliff, you went to SMU, attended SMU. It seems like you have an obsession with the community.
No, I love I love where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so I am unashamed and to say I'm from Oak Cliff, Texas, which we were our own city. But the problem is no one is investing in infrastructure to really make it a prosperous city, and I'm here to change that.
So what roles are you going to use to help us build up this community?
So I think that there are three things you have to do. One, you have to have a solid education. The second thing, you have to have economic opportunities, meaning you either have to have a job or you have to create your own job. And then the third thing is you have to use that job to support your family and your community. And so you can be who you want to be, but you have to be great in school, because to get knowledge isn't just to get good grades. To get knowledge is to be able to think critically, and when you can think critically, you can think outside the box for solutions. And once you do that, you go to good schools, or you help schools become better, and then you get good jobs, or you're creating businesses so that you can feed your family.
And usually when people ask you where you're from, you say Oak Cliff, first thing they say, oh, you from the hood, or
right.
They
No,
give
exactly.
this type of emphasis, but I mean, just because you're from the hood per se, doesn't mean you always have that one way out. You got schools, the school I go to, we have some of the best scores in the district.
Right.
We're doing this as a group in Oak Cliff.
Right.
A group of young African American boys. So, well, we don't have a girl yet, but she will be here soon.
Just don't worry, y'all on the right track to get to attract girls. So you're good.
but a group of young African American men in Oak Cliff, we're doing something good for the community. We're already giving back to our community, and we haven't even made it out of the community yet.
Right.
So I feel like that's good about what you're doing, because we need more people like that in our community.
Well, and I want to thank you, because this is a Saturday morning and y'all don't have to be here. And so this is a part of education. It's not just learning in the classroom. The classroom is only going to take you so far. If you don't have the social or cultural connection with your community, then you need to definitely be able to, you won't be worth much if you just have brains. And so doing these things help you think critically and give back to your community. Keep it up.
Right, well, I definitely agree with you, because the whole, objective of this show is to educate our viewers.
Right.
Because our viewers don't know everything. We don't know everything, but we want to bring awareness to the community, and we want to start here. We want to build a community just like you.
Right.
So,
and I don't know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm on the shoulders of my giants.
So we're getting ready to wrap up the interview. Well, how can we reach you?
You can reach me. You can go to my website at www.mrmatthouston.com. You can check us out at the Dallas Black Chamber. I'm at www.dallasblackchamber.org. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Matt Houston all together. The Dallas Black Chamber has our Facebook page and an Instagram page at Dow Black Chamber.
Well,
it's everywhere.
You heard it from him. Tune in every Saturday from 11 to 12 at sti740 or streammyschool.com/sti740. And that concludes our interview. DJ Doc D, can you take us out?
Appreciate you, man.
So here, every week we have a youth roundtable discussion. And this week it came up that Texas, we're trying to take slavery out of the textbook.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ironic that the Department of Education would make something so ignorant.
What was the whole point? Like, what's the whole point of putting it in the textbook if you're going to turn around and take it out?
Like, if it's in a history textbook, like, why would you not want the kids to know their history?
This wouldn't only affect Texas. This would affect the whole nation as a whole. Because Texas, they make the textbooks for basically the whole country. And whatever Texas does, the rest of the country does the same.
And then they said in the public school districts, you know, when it first starts off in Texas, it's going to affect more than 4.8 million kids.
Now, is this something that they're just gonna do on their own, or is this something that has to be voted on?
It has to be voted on.
No, it has to be voted on, but it started as an argument between the Texas Department of Education, and it was a long argument until they finally just agreed to take slavery out of textbooks. And by doing this, they're pretty much locking out. They're locking out our past. That the people of our African American people. We won't know where we came from. We don't know how we got here. We don't know how our civilization became. We pretty much don't know anything about our past after they take slavery.
And it's the power of economics, right? And so this conversation started a couple of years ago because people understood that there's about to be a shift in textbooks because people are going online. And so when you have one major technological change, then you might as well try to get as many changes as possible. And so one of those things that people in power don't like to do is admit when they're wrong. And one thing about our culture is that in America, people don't want to own up that they actually they kidnapped people, abused them for slave labor, and made money off of them because that makes them weaker. And so when you don't take those in the book, when you don't put those in the books, then the generations from then on won't even have this direct frame of reference of slavery. That's why it's really important for African Americans today to learn how to read and write so that they can articulate, wait a minute, I read this in certain books, this needs to stay here, because if we don't have this in our books, we will repeat history. It may not be whites enslaving blacks, it may be something else, but we'll never learn and grow as a culture if we take that out the books.
My thing is, if they take it out the book, where are they going to replace it with? Because what's going to happen with that big, empty, long frame? They're going to be like, well, how was America started?
I actually was a part of the education lobbying force in Austin in the last session. And when this came up, they thought they were going to do a blurb and equate slavery with non-paid internships. And so by marginalizing non-paid internships, when people see movies like The Intern and understand the principle of internships is work for free. And so instead of focusing on, I'm going to separate families and destroy culture, they just came in, they lost some wars, and they were servants to us. And that's so much weaker than what actually happened. Because slavery for 400 years didn't just affect us physically, but it affected us psychologically, emotionally, and we're still seeing the effects today. And people don't want us to recognize that because they want all of us to be on the same page and move forward as America. But people don't want to recognize that they screwed us. And therefore, the reason why we have this scenarios and situations is because of what happened to our forefathers.
And just to piggyback off of that, my question to you is, when you look at the textbooks now, in reference to what's in there as far as Black history and slavery and things like that, it's a very, very, very minute, small portion of what our story is. And it almost seems like they're trying to eliminate anything dealing with African Americans, not only slavery, but all the accomplishments that we have achieved over the years. I mean, we've learned about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and those names every February history, every Black History Month, those are the ones that are in the textbooks. But there are so many African Americans that haven't even made it to the textbooks that were really founders of this country, that did a lot of contributions to all of us being able to sit here right today. So do you think that it's just a plot for them to just eliminate a lot of our history in general?
Yeah, it's strategy. I mean, and this is why it's important for blacks to go to college. It's not for book sense. It's for critical thinking skills. Because as you get older and embrace yourself with education, you start thinking further ahead than just 1 + 1 = 2. You start seeing economic systems and psychological systems. What if you take Black history or slavery out the textbook? Somebody can then argue, well, then why in the world do we have Black History Month? Because nothing really happened because they were just non-paid interns. So why should we take Black history? Why should we have Black History Month in February? People have no idea why Black History Month exists. It's not because it's the shortest month. It's not because it's February. But it's because Abraham Lincoln's birthday, Frederick Douglass's birthday was in February. And so there are a lot of significant things of why Black History Month is in February. You talked about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. That's a prime example of how history dictates things. They want us to hear all the calm, relaxing civil rights activists who made America better. They don't want to talk about Malcolm X, who this is the anniversary of Malcolm X's death. They don't want to talk about that because that's anti the American culture. And by taking away slavery, you disregard Nat Turner, you disregard Harriet Tubman, you disregard Crispus Attucks, who was the first Black to die. Forget about all of the freedmen who were in America before slavery. And so discounting Black history in American culture is a travesty to this nation.
Yeah, and one thing that they said was, like, you made a great point when you said that if we take it out, then history will repeat itself. It repeats itself all the time, so like we need to be remembered by this. And one reason that they said they were taking it out was to like make amends, but you're not making amends by taking it out. You're making it worse. You're making us forget about our history, our past, and what was done to us. And that's the way we move on, is by recognizing what happened. That's how you move on. But taking it out is just like really making the whole situation worse.
My thing on this is, okay, so by making amends, okay, you take our history out. What about the stuff you did to your own people, the Native Americans, even the Caucasians? They crashed the economy. Andrew Jackson, he crashed the economy trying to work for the common people. Yet most of the common men, the common people were slaves, but they didn't have the education as a regular white person would have. So you take out our history and capitalize on your history, that's just gonna make it worse on you. Because you're picking up, you're putting in all the stuff that you've done bad to your own people and made America the home of the brave and the home of the good and the richest. And so my question is, why take out our history and capitalize on your history even though it's just as worse as ours?
And my view upon this is that I think the white people or our cousins, they're just trying to make themselves look good. Because when you go through the hood, the only people that you see is Black individuals. You never see white people just in the hood. If they're rolling through the hood, then they're probably like, you never see it.
So
and when they're taking out slavery, they're taking out our brain. They're taking out history. They're taking out knowledge. And that's just going to put us more in depth and more deeper in the sea than we already are. And I think they're just trying to hide the truth that Black people are smart. We just don't know how to work together. Once we work together and create that unity like Martin Luther King was trying to do, then we can all make the change.
That's a great point. And so you hit on, both of y'all hit on something that I want to really touch on. One, you talked about Andrew Jackson, how he almost crashed the economy. Well, I want us to think bigger than just black and white. What this really is about is people with power versus people without power. And so when people have power and influence, they write history. So the common white person didn't know that Andrew Jackson almost crashed the economy. You know why? Because that's not good in American history. Therefore, the people who wrote it, who are white individuals, aren't going to put it in the history book because it makes them look bad. Because if everyone else sees that there are flaws in their system, then they're less God, they're less deity and more human. And what people in power want is to be above human. And so that goes to your point. First of all, the ghetto was not derived from African Americans. It was the Jewish community pockets. And you can only learn that through learning history of other cultures. And so once you realize it's a power thing, and in America, the most prevalent example of power is black against white. Once you realize how you can transcend that, you as African American men here will be so powerful because they already know that we are versatile, they already know that we're strong, so if we don't make them smart, then they can't really get to our level intellectually. But if you read and you still keep your culture, you are a threat because we have survived for centuries. Yes. And they hate it. That's why I prefer to go to school, not just to be cool, not just so that we want you to be a nerd. That's what they put in our community so that they can divide us. You need to be an athlete or you can be a nerd. No, you can be both. Y'all are smart enough to do it, just do it.
But this is my theory on it, because I was listening to this song and he was like, history repeats itself, and that's just how it goes. You know, slavery has existed since the beginning of time, not even with African Americans, but just in general. And like I feel that the fuel that empowers people is the history. You know, like Martin Luther King, iconic African American. What fueled them is because they knew where they came from. Martin Luther King, he went to college, he went to school. They educated him on who his people were, where he came from. I feel like, do you feel that, you know, the executives of these textbooks or the people who write it are writing this so history repeats itself because they want to be in a position of power, because back when slavery existed, they were most powerful?
Every person has an ego. If you're poor, if you're rich, you have an ego. I have an ego. So I don't want you all to know any of my flaws. I have plenty of them. I'm not going to tell you. So if I'm a CEO of a textbook company and I have that type of swag and I have the power to tell you and dictate what I want you all to know, I'm going to exercise that. I'm not going to tell you, oh, well, you know, woe is y'all because I screwed y'all. That's not going to my book because that makes me look like less of a person. So that's why it's very important for us to be able to articulate intellectually our cultural significance so that we can come back. Is this the right thing to do? No, it sucks. We're on the short end of the stick, but we're still fighting uphill. That's why we need everyone to realize that racism still exists. And it's not just a black and white thing. It's about a power versus non-power deal.
I also think when they take it out of the textbooks, you also take away the curious mind.
Oh, yeah.
What I mean by that is the next young Isaac that's hitting kindergarten, he won't see that information in the textbook, so he won't read it. But if he did, he may be like, okay, this is where we come from. I need to learn more about my people and learn more where I come from. And here's this future activist that could actually do something to help his people in the future. But when you don't put that in there, you take that away. You diminish it and you don't give that our people the opportunity to do more. So you're just basically writing us out of history.
All right, so we're about to wrap up the youth roundtable in the show. I would like to thank the guests. And before we end, John's going to show his drawing.
Well, I drew a picture of Dwayne Harris and Mr. Matt Houston, but I didn't have enough time to get it to Dwayne before he left. But this is a picture after they won the game, and he was just standing around. Tony Romo was behind him. I didn't put that in there, but I just drew the star. And then I have the picture of Mr. Matt, since you're here.
John, I appreciate you, bro. I'm framing this, putting this in the office.
And next, we want to just thank all the sponsors who contribute to our show, and we also want to
viewers. So everything that we did today, everything that we said was heard by over 11,000 people. Props to everybody, because it wouldn't happen if we all contribute to the TV show, the cameras, the host. So with everybody's help, we got over 11,000 viewers to see what we did today, including Dwayne Harris. So that's gonna attract more people to come watch us. So we're making it to the next level.
Alright, so for all our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in every week. Next week we're gonna have a great show. So, like I said,
Next
every
week we're going to have Drew Pearson. Oh, next week we're going to be on Drew Pearson's show.
Yeah.
So you can catch us there. But you're always gonna catch us every Saturday at sti740. streamyschool.com/sti740.
From 11 to 12.
Alright, we'd like to thank our sponsors, ppvstream.biz, streamonschool.com, OCC, and STI740.
Alright,
and
thank you.
Ms. Touche.
Oh, yeah.
We would also like to thank our guests, Mr. Matt, Miss Gina, and Dwayne, who had to leave early. So we'd like to thank everyone for being here. And we'd like to see y'all next week, every week from 11 to 12.
Alright, thank y'all for tuning in. We're out.
Good job, guys.
Y'all did great, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
Yeah, y'all did a great job.
Top stuff.